than we normally would going into a game where there's more variables. There's more almost substitution by feel. Where this one we're going to be pretty scripted with guys and what their minutes are. And again, I'm just looking for our guys to go out there and hopefully play well, shake off some of the rust, get out in front of the fans for the first time, which will be important. I remember a couple years ago in our first exhibition, I don't think we made a basket until about 6 minutes through the game. Everybody was just so hyped up. So just going out there and again, doing what we've been stressing in practice and hopefully get off on the right foot and being able to carry some of that over. And if we don't, we're going to have a lot of things to learn from. And, it's an exciting time. Our guys are, as I said, they are so ready to get out and play against other people. So I'm excited for them, and again, I'm excited for our fans.
Coaches, when you guys got here, you had a pretty specific plan of how you wanted to build this thing. How critical is year 3 to show tangible improvement, not only just in the quality of your play, but in the win-loss column?
Well, sure, it's very important. I think people know what we came into, and there was going to be some growing pains in certainly that first year. Second year, I was proud of how we grew through very difficult times, which a lot of teams experienced. Us maybe as much as anybody in the country, but we kept battling. This year is important. Going into year 3, I know that we have expectations, which you want. You want expectations in this business. We're hopefully we talk to our guys every day about it, and going out there and doing the right things, playing the right way, and hopefully putting ourselves in a position to do something that's never been done here with Nebraska basketball. So yeah, you want those expectations, you want that pressure. That's what this job's all about. It sucks for sleep, but it's thanks, guys.
How'd you handle your bye week?
What's up?
How'd you enjoy your bye week?
Went out to Cam's Wednesday night or Thursday night, and then went home Friday night, watched Free State play Lawrence High, saw some family, saw some friends, old coaches and whatnot, and came home Saturday and kind of just hung out the rest of the weekend. So.
What was the more enjoyable side? Was it just the mental refresher or the physical, taking a few days?
Definitely both. It was a nice getaway. A day or two is all I need, and then obviously, back to the job site. So.
You talked about the fact that you thought it was going to be beneficial. Did you sense from the group as you guys got back? I know you were away a little bit. Some energy, or guys feel pressure as they get back to work this week?
I definitely felt like there was a good amount of energy coming back today into practice, and then last night we did have a team meeting. Guys felt like they wanted to be back, and that's the best thing you can have coming off a bye week.
You got a good jump on Purdue now when you look at the Boilermakers having an extra week.
Definitely, yeah. I think we got a good jump on these guys. We've had a week plus to look at them. They got a really solid front seven. They'll jump from odd to even spacing from time to time. They got a couple of good edge rushers, and, I'm excited for the challenge.
Yeah, George Kalafis is one of the top guys in the league, maybe a first-round pick. What kind of challenge will that be for the tackles this week?
Just like the last couple of weeks, it's been, a good challenge. It's going to be a good fight up front, and, like I said, I'm excited for the challenge, and I know Bryce is too.
What did that meeting, just guys getting together at the start of this next phase allow you to do as a team?
The meeting?
Yeah, I mean, just getting everybody in the same room. Did you feel like it was something that was important to do at this stage?
Yeah, I think it's definitely something important just to get everyone on campus the day before practice starts up again, just to be able to make sure that everyone's accounted for, and we're all ready to get going.
Guys, you mentioned it sort of the last couple of weeks, this coming week, next week, you're on a line facing a bunch of really good edge rushers. What has that challenge been like for you, and how, I know you're a young player, but it seems like a pretty strong crop overall in the Big Ten this year in terms of 7 guys.
Yeah, when you come to the Big Ten, you come to play the cream of the crop, and that's why I wanted to come here. These guys that I've been facing all year are the cream of the crop. The Aiden Hutchinsons, all those guys. They're all very talented people, very talented players, and like I said, it's just another opportunity to get better. So.
I was going to ask you about I keep coming back to the team meeting thing. Is that a normal thing, or is that something you normally do after a bye week? Is everybody good, or was this abnormal? Like you guys felt the need to all get together? Was it players, or was it coach driven?
I've never had a bye week here. Last year we went 8 straight games, and but I think it's normal. But yeah, I don't know.
Was it coach or player driven?
Coach, and then we had player optional led meetings after.
Okay, thanks. How nice was it to have a bye week then?
Oh, it was real nice. I liked it. I enjoyed it.
Sure, Purdue's going to be coming off a game against Iowa and Wisconsin. Do you think that gives you guys any sort of edge, like going against a team that's coming off of 2 kind of grueling physical games like that?
It might give us an edge. I'm not sure. I guess we'll find out Saturday. They had a good game against Iowa. They lost to Wisconsin, and those are 2 really good games for us to look at moving forward. Seeing with what we can do with what both teams did against them. So,
how much do you have getting bowl eligible on your mind? Do you guys talk about? How do you approach that?
It's definitely our main goal, but right now we're focused on Purdue, because you can't go bowl eligible if you're not able to beat Purdue this week. So.
How eligible has the Big Ten been when you look at the league? Illinois beat Penn State, Purdue beat Iowa. There's just been some games you really can't predict each week in this conference.
Right, like you said, Illinois taking Purdue to, 9 overtimes? That was insane. That was a pretty cool game to watch. I wasn't able to watch it. I was driving back. But, it's college football. It's the most exciting time of the year. You never know what unbeaten team is going to lose every week, and you never know what unranked team is going to beat a ranked team. So it's always something to keep yourself on your toes about. It's college football.
You talked in camp a little bit about, or after camp, about the injury you dealt with. Was there a point in the season where you felt like you'd really sort of caught up physically, or did the bye week do you personally some extra good on that?
I felt like I've been playing the best of my capability physically throughout the entire year. I feel like this bye week has definitely helped me get back to being able to be 100%. And I think it's helped everybody. So it's only going to help us moving forward.
What do you think from a guy like Ian Borkacher, who's right number 2 right tackle right now? What has he done behind the scenes, do you think, to elevate?
He's done a lot. You know, he's come to me once or twice a week. You know, hey, what can I be doing? What should I be doing? And you know, I'll tell him what he needs to do. And he's been working his butt off. I'm so proud of this guy. You know, he's come a long ways, and you know, he's one of my best friends here. And you know, I'm only excited for what he can showcase whenever he's able to get put into the game.
What are his strengths? What would you say he does best?
His strengths, you know, he's a smart player. You know, he's able to react on the run. And you know, he's pretty athletic. He's able to move from left tackle to right tackle like that. And for being a walk-on, you know, it's pretty rare. And he's a great player. He's a great player. Overall, he's a great person. You know, nothing but good things to say about the guy.
Anything else for Turner? Okay, thank you.
Questions for Ty?
Ty, what kind of a teammate is Damian Jackson?
Damian Jackson, he's a scary team. No, I'm just playing. He's one of my really close friends, I feel like, on the team. He really helped me, along with Chris Walker. They kind of helped me during that COVID year, kind of in the weight room to kind of get bigger, faster, stronger, so I could be able to play. I really owe them guys a lot. But, I mean, he's a great leader, great example of kind of the person you'd want to be out in the football field. Gets stuff done, does the right thing, and holds you accountable, even though sometimes it's tough love, and I really appreciate that for him.
Ty, what did you guys accomplish over the 5 weeks?
I feel great. I know we had 2 kind of intermediate practices last week to kind of keep our blood going, so we just weren't stiff coming back, no fatigue. My body feels great. Got a lot of schoolwork done too, so I can catch up on that and really focus on the last 4 games that we have of the season. And I don't know, I feel like everyone came out with a better energy today.
How do you guys generate more? I mean, sacks is the only way you define pressure, but how do you guys generate a little bit more pass rush?
Well, in my opinion, if you look at it, every game we've kind of gotten a good pass rush presence in the beginning, and then you kind of see teams start to go to 3-step, quick release. I mean, we're getting back there, and I mean, they're just getting the ball out too quick. Where not anybody could get in it. But I do know that it's more than just getting back there. I mean, the pass presence. I mean, we're told as a D-line to get our hands up in the window. I mean, you see us deflect a few balls here and there, and really it's just got to be staying in our pass rush lanes, really closing that pocket so that he can't escape and squeeze through seams that we create.
You guys have had success against Purdue in terms of getting sacks. Is that related to their scheme? And they don't always go to 3 steps. They like to try to throw it down.
Yeah, that's fine. They want to hold on to the ball. I mean, we're going to do our best to get back there. I know that we're going to have a good game plan, good scheme for this week to get back there. A lot of games, a lot of good calls to help us out with that as well. And then we just got to win our one-on-ones when we have the opportunity.
Purdue will play 3 different quarterbacks at times. I mean, what do they do different as they kind of rotate in different quarterbacks?
Yeah, I know 13, Jack Plummer, he was benched after halfway through the season, and then that older dude came up. It seems like the starting guy's more of a pro-style quarterback. Jack's more of a, I'd say pro, but he's more run-the-ball type, and then their other guy, I think, is just more of a wildcat kind of quarterback, really just to run the ball back there.
They're a little bit unique. I mean, you've been around the league a couple of times now. Are they? I mean, a lot of teams are going to try to line up and run it at you. You guys have seen a lot of that in the past few weeks. They're a little bit different, aren't they? In terms of
they're a big pass-heavy team. I don't really think they have an identity in the run game. I mean, I think we held them to -2 rushing yards last year, which I mean is a really big positive for us. But like we were just saying, I mean, I think the pass game is going to be the key focus for us this week. We can't overlook the run game at all because we got to stick to our bread and butter. But I think we know that we can kind of handle the run game a little bit. We just do our job.
When you went back and think about Michigan and Minnesota, what was it? I mean, both those teams ended up putting a pretty good number on you in terms of rushing yards. Is there one thing that could have been done better, or are they sort of individual?
Yeah, I think tackling was really the biggest issue for us. Michigan, not as much, but that Minnesota game, just really bad angle, bad coverage of the tackle. Guys, I mean, running to the ball, just missing tackles. I mean, that's really just what it was. And just little details, again, fine details.
He's got to talk to us last week about the team just having to get a last inch. They're so close. When you think about that statement, what do you feel like you guys have to do to get maybe those final inches?
It's just those little details play a little bit hard. I feel like we're playing with great effort, great intensity. It's just being locked in those key moments, those key plays that are making us lose these one-score games that are really going to be the turning point. So if we can start winning more of those key plays, then I feel like we'll be a happier program.
What's an example of a key play in your own mind, like the plays you're talking about?
It's a third down, and, I mean, you know that you got, like for me, for example, in the Minnesota game, I hit the tackle and I peeked in my gap and I saw a running back go away and I peeked in the other gap and he ran right in my primary gap for first down and more. that's just one of the examples for that. Maybe sometimes not blowing a coverage, but maybe getting beat on a one-on-one, or maybe a tackling issue as well. I mean, it's an easy layup tackle and you end up missing it or something like that. Just the focus in the little details.
Ty, what are these, the way that your schedule has set up over the second half of the season with 2 games and a bye, 2 games and a bye, 2 games, what does that allow you guys to do differently at all with your training, your conditioning, the mentality that you take into each week?
Nothing really. This whole season, we've been going pretty hard in the weight room. Today, I mean, I squatted 6 plates today with Cam Jergs and Mosai Newsome, and we kind of did our own little workout today. And then out in the field, I mean, it's the same thing. I'm gonna bring the same juice, same energy every day to make my guys better, just like I know they will to make me better. Understanding that the focus has to be on the current opponent, how much do you have a bowl in the back of your mind, bowl eligibility? How much you guys talk about it? Is that something on your mind? What do you mean by eligibility? Getting bowl eligibility? Yeah. I mean, yes, I'd love to go to a bowl game, but I mean, we can't go to a bowl game if we don't win 3 more games. So it's just going to be 1 game at a time, really focus on the Purdue and then Wisconsin next, and then we'll have that bye week as well. So really just start putting a lot more energy that we all have over the season to win these games.
Hey Ty, how well do you know Jack Plummer, both in Arizona guys? I
don't know him very well. I played against his brother in high school once, and I think we won. And then I got to play against him last year. He's a pretty good quarterback. He's pretty shifty. He got me last year, so hopefully I get to get him back this year.
Have you seen your coaches, maybe not just Coach Frost, but the assistants too, kind of handle some of these tough losses? What do you see in the way that they talk to you guys and approach you? Appreciate it. Has it changed in the last week or so?
No, not really. Coach Tuioti really preaches that, I mean, when you hit the stone 100 times, 1,000 times, it may not crack on that 100th time or that 99th time, but that one time it does crack, that's when you feel accomplished. So I feel like it's just kind of that same goal. I mean, we keep going week after week after week, pound, and we end up losing, but one of these days that rock's finally going to crack and we're finally going to start winning games. So that's been kind of the message in the D-line room, and then I haven't really seen anything waver from the other coaches as well on the defensive side or the offensive side. They're still doing their jobs pretty darn well, and we're going out there with high intensity in practice.
Anything else for Ty? Thank you guys. Thank you. Okay. You too. Continuing for fire, Martinez.
Adrian, looking at some stats, in the Big Ten, Nebraska's not the only team that's been struggling in the red zone. I was just kind of curious, what's it take, the field gets so compact down there, what's it take to be successful down in that, inside the 20?
Yeah, part of that's awareness. Like you said, the field shrinks, so each play matters that much more. You have to execute and be really precise on the details. There's less room for error already in the Big Ten, so in the red zone that margin for error is even smaller. So just really have to be dialed in and execute.
When you say less error or less margin for error in the Big Ten versus what, other leagues, and why?
Yeah, part of that's a style of play. I do believe that the level of play is really high in the Big Ten, and on top of that, a lot of teams play, they have the ball for a long time, the time of possession, so your possessions are cut down. You have to make those plays, those possessions count. So that extends to the red zone and making those opportunities you get to score count and get points out of them.
Did you see the 9 overtime game?
I did. I saw a little bit of that, and it's pretty nuts. And the fact that it was 20-18. Yeah.
Does that kind of, it's an extreme example, but does that kind of like emphasize, the point you're making about how difficult it can be to score in that kind of small space, and basically, what you face week to week in the Big Ten?
Definitely, 100%. I mean, it speaks to it. It's a great example of it, and just how difficult it can be to score and
and get quality plays down there. But it's incredibly important.
I know you don't like to make excuses. Scott said last week that you were a little bit beat up. Did you feel like your physical health affected anything against Minnesota? And then I guess second, how much did it help you personally from that standpoint?
Yeah. I definitely wasn't 100%, but you rarely are in football, right? So there's no excuse to not play at the level that I'm accustomed to playing and want to play at. I did feel like I wasn't as dynamic as a runner going into that game, but still was able to do the things I wanted to do. If I felt like I couldn't, I wouldn't have played. So there's no excuse there. And additionally, the bye week was very helpful, I think, for everyone, not only physically but mentally. Maybe take a little bit of a break and get ready for this last 4 weeks.
Was there ever a point in the week of that Minnesota game where you thought you might not be able to play?
In my mind, I knew I was always going to play Saturday.
When you, in terms of running the ball, do you approach it any differently than you have in the past? And I'm not talking about like going forward now, but over the last few weeks, do you feel like you're just better at avoiding taking big hits in the open field, or have you consciously thought about trying to avoid taking hits?
Yeah, it's about being a little smarter, knowing when to maybe take some of those big hits off. And that's just, maybe it's with experience and just realizing it's a long season and knowing that I have to be a factor in the run game and I can't afford to miss games for my team. So little things, maybe that's getting down a little early. Maybe it's finding a way to avoid those big hits from some of the guys in the Big Ten.
You guys are on a run now facing a set of really good pass rushers. You've got another this week with Karlaftis from Purdue. What kind of challenge is that, not just for your tackles, but what sort of pressure does a player like that put on an offense as a whole?
Yeah, I will say, you sort of mentioned it, that this is another week of having a dynamic edge rusher, and that's sort of the Big Ten. It's a part of this league. It's a part of what we face week in and week out. So we played special players like that before, and it's no different this week. We're going to have to attack him, attack their defense, and really be able to execute. He's a really good player, and he has an incredibly high motor. So just attacking it and realizing where he's at on the field.
Coach talked about fighting for inches, so close, one last inch. When you think about him saying that, I'm sure he said it to you guys too, what kinds of things flash in your mind about what's important in that last inch?
Yeah. Well, it's about every play. We've had a couple big moments where there was one play that stood out that may have seemed as if it lost us the game, but it's the plays leading up to that, and each play matters. That's sort of how I take it. When it's 1st and 10, fight for that extra yard to make it 2nd and 3 instead of 4. When it's 3rd down, fight for the 1st down, goal line, whatever it may be. Fighting for those extra yards could make a big difference on the next play.
When you're a leader, how hard is it to maintain patience and believe the team's going to come around the corner, and being impatient and urgent as the season's running out and there's only 4 games left? How do you find that line? Is it sometimes hard to toe it?
Yeah, you need to always have a sense of urgency, and we haven't lost that. We've had that at the beginning of the year, and we have it right now. There's a sense of patience when it comes to where this program is and where we know we can be, where we want to be, and having confidence in that. The urgency can't stop, and it won't stop. We obviously need this win, and it's a huge game for us.
Adrian, you've had a couple of coaches in the past, I think 3 weeks, 3 games, who've had some words with you, private words with you after the game, opposing coaches that you've faced many times. What's what sense of appreciation, or what kind of message, just in general, are you getting from those guys as you make your way through this?
Yeah, generalizing it, it's about respect and about an appreciation for toughness and some of the things I've been through here and I've battled through, which I genuinely appreciate. And it's always a good thing to get that sort of recognition and appreciation. Now, some of those things came after we lost the game, and, maybe they're just being nice. It is what it is. I really don't put too much into it, but it is nice to hear from opposing coaches that they respect my game.
I mean, one was after you guys blew out Northwestern with
Yeah.
Fitz. Did either one of those encounters catch you off guard?
Not necessarily off guard. You know, I was sort of embraced in both, and I wasn't necessarily expecting that, but I genuinely appreciated the words they had to say to me.
When you have a bye week and you can step back a little bit, do you, knowing that it could be or it might not be the last game, I mean, does that creep into your mind at all about these could be the last four? Maybe you know, maybe you don't, but does that enter your thought process at all?
Not necessarily. You know, I might use a little bit of that to even increase the sense of urgency. You know, like I alluded to earlier, it's really important to emphasize that with our team, with myself. Now, I'm not necessarily thinking about the bigger picture and what that could all mean, whatever it is. The focus has to be on this week. But, yeah, you know, hey, what if it's sort of football, you know, you never know when it's your last snap, your last game. So taking that approach, a little bit of that as well, just having that sense of urgency and really appreciation for where I'm at and making sure to enjoy the moment.
So you got to postpone any decision-making about that till after the season, or if you already?
Oh, 100% that's after the season. There are too many things that are way more important than that right now.
Adrian, you guys had like a little team meeting with coaches, whatever, and what's the sense amongst the players and stuff? You guys talk bowl much, or obviously you can't get to a bowl without Purdue, but I mean, do you talk big picture now that you've had a week to do that?
No, I don't think we're in a position to do that personally. We can't afford to have any attention on anything else besides Purdue. We need this win, and ultimately, if we want to go to a bowl game, we need to beat Purdue. So simple as that for us. All attention on Purdue.
Yes, Adrian. Thank you, guys.
We'll open up the floor for questions for Ben.
And what kind of a teammate is Damian Jackson, and what does he bring to you guys?
Yeah, Damian, just from you know, his background and his perspective he has on life, it's really awesome as a teammate. You know, he brings a great perspective just as far as you know, this practice and these workouts and whatnot aren't necessarily what's really hard in life. So he brings just a lot of wisdom, and obviously he's a beast in the weight room, on the field, physically is well put together as anyone on the team. So he's just awesome just for pushing guys and bringing guys along.
I feel like you accomplished on my week. For you, just mentally, physically?
Yeah, I think it was a good opportunity just to you know, unplug, recharge. You know, everybody's a little beat up, and just get everyone back, all the energy and everything back underneath you. I think it was good for a lot of guys.
Is Purdue a little bit of a unique scout for you guys, just in the sense of you see a lot of teams that are going to line up and run it 45 or 50 times a game, and they seem at least like they're a little bit more pass first in terms of what they're trying to do offensively?
Yeah, they're not your typical Big Ten team. Throw a lot more than they run, as you alluded to. So we're gonna have to rush together as a unit. You know, up front four, we're gonna have to get pressure on them.
How do you feel about the way you guys have rushed the passer this year?
Yeah, there's always room for improvement, obviously. There's been games we've been really good. There's been games we've been nearly non-existent. A lot of it's obviously dictated RPO, Max Pro stuff. So, I mean, it is what it is. Nothing we can do about the pass. We're looking forward to this challenge we have this week.
When you start to look at Purdue and you see their last couple of weeks against opponents that you know well, and they dominated Iowa, and then kind of got the tables turned on them against a Wisconsin team that hasn't played all that well until this last week. What do you take from that, from seeing that up and down?
Yeah, I mean, it's no different than any other Big Ten season you've seen the past however many years we've been in the league, right? Anybody loses, anybody wins any given week. Everybody's solid top to bottom, and you got to bring your A game every week or you're going to get beat. It's just the way it is. So we gotta play to our best ability every week and to even have a shot in this league.
Casey showed us like a Tuiottism about you can't live in the past, you can only learn from it, something like that. What did you guys learn from the Minnesota game?
Yeah, I mean, obviously first half, there's a lot to be learned from there. I mean, a lot of it was tackling and leverage for us, something we work on daily. So, you know, just got to be better at our fundamentals, technique, got to win our one-on-one battles. A lot of that was also, you know, everybody out there's got a one-on-one battle for the most part, and we got to win them.
How's the offensive line looking in practice this week?
Our O-line. Yeah, they're been solid. Today was obviously the first day I've seen them, but they seemed well rested, well recovered, coming off the ball hard this week. So expect good things out of them.
Ben, you were pretty adamant after the Minnesota game that this team wasn't going to wane down the stretch. How do you feel another week in, and and why do you feel so strongly about that? That particular comment, that particular the direction this team's going.
Yeah, I mean, I don't feel any different after a bye week. Last week practice energy was really good. Those two practices we got in, and I think a lot of it's just attributed to leadership. We've seen guys, majority of this team has seen seasons. Myself has seen seasons, and we've tried the other route, obviously, and guys have mailed seasons in the past, and obviously it doesn't work. So I think that's a big part of it. Guys have been through it, and guys really want to change this season for the better.
Any questions for Ben? Thank you, guys. breaking it.
Keeping it warm. All right, questions? Scott, I guess I'll lead it off. Red zone offense, a bunch of teams in the Big Ten are struggling with that this year, yours included. So what's kind of what's the keys to success when you get down in that part of the field?
You know, I think you just got to be able to run base stuff and get it in. You have to be able to block. Just speaking for us, I can't speak for everybody. Our basic stuff has to be a little better so we get more yards on just our basic stuff. It just means we need to block a little better, run a little better. You always go into game with some schemes to try to scheme something into the end zone. Obviously, there was a 9 overtime game in the league. I don't think you ever have enough for something like that. But you can't have 20 of those, or you're wasting a lot of time practicing on that. So I think really it comes down to just being efficient in what you do and being a little better at it. There's good defenses in the league, though. I mean,
you talked some last week about just sort of your setup for the bye week. What did you think of your guys when you got them back today, and how much of a jump did you get on Purdue then over the last couple of days as a staff?
Yeah, as a staff, we got a lot of time to watch them. Obviously, then we watched the Wisconsin game yesterday several times, and it helps. Thought the guys had more of a spring in their step again. You know, they were a little worn down and tired. That's natural with 8 straight weeks and starting a week early. So I think it was good for our guys just to get refreshed.
How are you feeling after the bye week?
Refreshed. You know, got some rest. Excited to get back after it.
The 9 overtime games. What do you think of that new rule where you switch to 2-point conversions after the third one?
It made for an interesting game. I had anxiety watching that game. You know, you'd run out of things to call. They both good teams, and somebody had to win and somebody had to lose. You know, they're trying to shorten a game, and they got a 9 overtime game, but that's the rules. You know, it was good for us as a coaching staff to see that, just to make sure we can be ready for it.
How's Adrian coming off the bye?
He's good. He's gonna be 100%. He's been dealing with quite a bit of stuff and fighting through stuff, and he's a warrior for doing it. He'll be a full go.
Purdue's a team that tests the secondary. What's status, if you can say, with Deontay this week, or just how do you battle them with your secondary being perhaps down a man?
Yeah, you know, Deontay will be back this season. I don't know when. You know, you always want to have everybody up when you're playing a team like this. They're going to throw a lot of stuff at you. You have to be ready. You have to be disciplined. And they got some good players everywhere, but definitely a receiver that can beat you. So we got to have eyes on him and got to cover well and try to get to the quarterback. You know, I think Purdue would have had a good chance Saturday. I think they turned it over 5 times. It's hard to win that way. So I don't expect that we'll get that same effort from them. Expect them to come in ready to go, and another good Big Ten team that'll be a battle.
How impressive was that performance they had against Iowa 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, there's a lot of good teams in the league, and I think any week any team can win. It usually comes down to a few plays here and there. Purdue made the plays in that game for sure. Bell made a lot of those plays, and everything just kind of went the right way for them that day. They played a heck of a game. You know, we got to expect that Purdue team to come in here.
You guys have obviously faced talented players of all kinds, but you're on a run here where I think 4 in a row, if you include Ohio State next week, face a really talented pass rusher. I guess just generally speaking, what does George Karlaftis do well, and how much pressure can a guy like that put on an offense and a play caller?
He's a good player. He's one of the better players that we've played. I think he's got good guys around him too. Across the board, I think they're good pass rushers. Really impressed with their Sam linebacker, number 6. They're a good defense. They've really become one of the better defenses in the league, in my opinion, watching them on tape. You got to know where Karlaftis is all the time and account for him. And we got to battle and do the best we can.
How's Mark Buford progressed? I know he's a freshman, prep school freshman, but how has he progressed? He may get a chance to play a little bit more.
Yeah, he's doing well. He's one of those kids that came in mature and ready to attack. I always say that's the mark of a freshman that's going to play early isn't necessarily talent. It's how quickly they grow up and become adults and good teammates and do little things right. And he came in that way. So excited about him right now and in the future.
Casey Rogers said that Brant Banks was back at practice today. How does he look, and what role might he play for you guys on the stretch?
Yeah, Brant's back. That's good. Always good to have more guys that have played and can do it. So we'll see where he factors in going down the stretch.
With a guy like Thomas Fedoni, as he comes back and some of the rust off the practice and all that, do you, ideally for him, do you try to prescribe like a situation where maybe you can get him in, or do you throw him back in the mix and say, hey, if you can, get back in our rotation for a couple games?
Yeah, I'm really excited about Thomas. He's still shaking a little bit of rust off. He's missed a lot of reps in some of the stuff we're doing. When he's ready to play and gives us as good or better chance to win as the other guys, he'll be out there. So he's got a really bright future, and we'll see how quick that comes.
How much ground did you guys cover on the recruiting trail, and what kind of feedback did you get being out on the road for the first time in a long time?
Yeah, it's great. How many days did you say it was?
Over 620 days.
620 days. All the coaches hit the road. I went to high school in a game. The response was awesome. I was just talking to Barrett Root about this morning, and he's stuck mostly local during recruiting, but the response they got from coaches and administrators and students, I think people are enjoying watching this team. I think they're proud of this team. We got to get it over the hump, but I was really encouraged to hear the response and reaction that coaches said they got on the road, and really tough recruiting without being able to go out and evaluate and go out and get in front of coaches and get into high school. So we needed this, and it's a good first step.
Is it reassuring? I mean, knowing that the results, win losses haven't been there, but yet you guys go out in all different ways and you're getting positive feedback. It's gotta be.
Yeah, that's encouraging. We beat ourselves up pretty bad. We've come up, just an inch short too many times. But when I look at it, the progress is obvious. The team's playing hard. We're playing more physical. We're bigger, faster, stronger. There's some areas we need to fix. But I think people are recognizing the type of team we have and the level we're playing at, and it's up to us to make the plays when it counts to get it over the hump.
Is there a mental hurdle that you feel like that your team has to clear? It feels like you can see around the corner, and it's almost like bringing them around the corner with you. Is there a last mental hurdle you'd like to see them clear before they become the team you think they can be?
Yes, and I think that's pretty accurate. Human beings are habitual, and when you're used to winning, I think winning comes a little easier. When you're not there yet, I think it's a little harder, and maybe you're waiting on it to happen instead of making it happen. And I do think that little bit of extra confidence or just knowing it's going to happen rather than hoping could probably take us the next step. So we're trying to be as psychological with the guys as we can, but they believe how good a team they are. Now it's just a matter of making the play when it counts and when it matters the most.
You're a pretty even-keeled guy. Do you ever are you tempted to push the mad button ever with them, or do you feel like that would be? Does that make sense?
I'm tempted in here sometimes. No, we don't let you guys into practice for a lot of reasons. That's one of them, because we do hit the mad button sometimes. I hit it on Wednesday. I put them in a lot of situations Wednesday with simulating the game on the line just to try to help them experience that even more. Not that we haven't done that before, but just continue to try to put them in competitive situations. This one matters. Can we count on you when it counts? And we did a lot of really good things. We did a couple dumb things, and I wasn't happy about it. So there's a time and a place for that. And certain coaches we have on staff are better at hitting the mad button than others. But they're getting the players to play hard. This team believes how good they are, and we got another really good opponent coming in here, so we get another chance.
There's a certain head coach, former head coach here, who used to save his hour for game day. Like get right on the field right at that moment. Do you find that to be unproductive to get to lose it at that moment during the battle?
Yeah, I think in general, I don't want to comment on anybody before me, but I think in general a team takes on the characteristics of its leaders. Leaders that are players, leaders that are position coaches, and leaders that are head coaches. And if leaders aren't staying cool, then it's hard for the team to stay cool. So I think game day is the time you should feel confident in the preparation. You should feel ready, and that's probably when you should be your calmest while being really fired up to play. Appreciate it, guys.
Thanks.